Okay, well, like I said, at the end of 230, so what I was saying is that Sonic is able to, at the end of 229 going into 230, which goes back into the original continuity, is able to go back in time moments before Sally is shot. Sally's wondering what's going on until she sees a sign which says, "Hi, Sal," and she starts to remember what's going on. And that's another thing about Genesis. Her and Sonic are the only ones to start to slowly remember what's really going on. And so anyway, Sonic is able to go back in time, like I said, moments before she's shot, save her, but it ends up being for naught because basically Sally is in the heart of the Death Egg, basically where this global roboticizer was at, and she ends up sacrificing herself to prevent the global roboticizer from blasting the planet and roboticizing the planet. And what happens when she sacrifices herself? She ends up getting roboticized, and thus we end up with Mecha Sally, who later on, in a few issues later, we see is weaponized, modified, and weaponized. And basically it leads us to where we are now. Basically what's happened is you have a lot of things going down. You have Naugus becoming king, like I said. You have Bunny. Oh, and get this, you have Bunny getting crystallized. But through Naugus's magic, is somehow restored back to her organics. But now seems to be back to being half cybernetic again. We'll have to wait and find out. And essentially you have Sonic, Tails, and Amy going around the world trying to hunt down the Death Egg, save whatever villages are being attacked, if you will. Trying to save whatever villages are being attacked, and basically overall try to rescue Sally and try to find a way to restore her. That's basically what the whole situation right now that's going on in the story arc. And of course, in between we've had some like right now currently we have a subplot going on in the main comic, which is called Endangered Species. And of course we have other things going on as well that have kind of interrupted the flow of the story arc according to many fans. We've had an issue where you've had an Olympic tie-in as the main issue, or as the main story of one of the main issues, which wasn't needed in my opinion, and so on and so forth. Now, this also has had some, we've also had another team. Oh, and by the way, Sonic, Amy, and Tails, as many of you probably know by now, is known as Team Fighters. We have a team called Team Freedom, which consists of Rotor in a nanite suit, who's no longer part of the council, and is back on the field thanks to a nanite suit. His team consists of himself, Cream the Rabbit, Big, and the Restored Heavy and Bomb, if you could believe that. And then of course we have the Secret Freedom Fighters, which are secretly assembled by Harvey, Hugh, Uncle Chuck, and Nicole, if you will, and they consist of the former King Elias, Larry the Lynx, believe it or not, Shard, formerly known as Metal Sonic 2.0, the Wolf, Silver the Hedgehog, because he's, oh, and by the way, Silver is stuck in this world because of going back and forth all the time through time, trying to find out who the traitor is that destroyed his world. So Silver ends up stuck in Sonic's time. He's part of Secret Freedom Fighters. And as well as you got Laika and Lita, the Wolf Twins from the Wolf Pack, as part of the team as well. So essentially you have that going on. And in Sonic Universe you have some story arcs happening as well. Especially most recently you had the Chaotix story arc where they were searching for Mighty and Ray, who at the end of issue 212 of Sonic the Hedgehog went to go look for Mighty's sister, Matilda, of the Dark Egg Legion. And that is what's happened. They found her, been reunited, but they have to separate again due to certain reasons. Anyway, we also have Antron end up in a coma after the attack on Pneumo Metropolis, Bunny running off to her uncle Beauregard to probably get her cybernetics back, so forth, and so on and so forth. And of course, we've got issue 50 of Sonic Universe coming up, which is going to have a battle between Metal Sonic and Shard. And then, of course, we've got a crossover happening that, again, like the Olympic tie-in, in one of the main issues, is going to interrupt or have some kind of connection to the issues, to both the main comic and the Universe comic. And it's a crossover between Sonic and Mega Man. So yeah, essentially, woo! That's everything that's going on in the comic right now. A lot, right? Now you know, just hearing all that, now you know why a lot of fans are kind of like divided in between. And and one more thing, out of this, apparently Sally, Bunny, Antoine, and Rotor, and I guess even Tails, are going to get redesigns to make them match up to what the game characters, to what they would look like in games. And we're not just talking redesigns, they got the old clothes and everything. No, we're talking complete redesigns. We're talking Sally gets a shorts and a shirt, gets a vest button up with a black t-shirt under it, or a black top under it, and shorts and gloves. And it's like, whoa, what's going on here kind of deal. So, but the thing is, we don't really know if that's the official final design. We don't know if she'll look like her old self again, but she'll just have the clothes. We don't know what Buddy will look like or Antoine. But essentially, according to some people, according to Ian Flynn, is to update them. In other words, to keep them fresh, you got to update them. You got to make them look different. And a lot of people have said, hey, after 20 years, why change it? You know, there's no need for it. But Ian Flynn said, essentially, hey, you know, you got to keep the characters up to date. You want to keep the characters in the comic. You want to keep them updated. You want to keep them fresh. You got to give them sort of a modern. You got to modernize them. You got to give them a new look. So essentially, that's what's going on. Like I said, a lot, right? It is a lot to take in if you consider it. I mean, if you sit back and you read all the issues that I mentioned in these 3 parts, you read all the issues, if you read all the issues, folks, in these 3 parts that I mentioned, in this 3-part video that I mentioned, now you see why, like I was saying, why the fan base is divided. I mean, believe it or not, there's a lot of fans that have no problem with the redesigns as long as the characters retain their personalities and who they are. But they just, what it is it's this story arc that's going on, this main story arc, that's either getting, you know, stopped because of a subplot that needs to take place, or a crossover, or a tie-in, a publicity deal, because of the corporation that owns the character. So, again, now can you see why fans are kind of PO'd right now on one side, and some fans are like, hey, bring it on, we want more? And why some fans like myself are in the middle like, hey, let's see what happens kind of deal. Had to let my dog in again. But anyway, can you now see why fans are a little like, you know, the fan base is just divided? It's just so much. I mean, you have fan artists, believe it or not, like, say, Jay Foxfire, who you may have heard of. You know, she's a longtime Sonic fan. She doesn't like what's going on. She doesn't like the new designs of the characters. You know, you have people like Game Boy Sage, Laser X5, people who all love the comic, love the comic for what it is, or for what it was and is, but just don't like what's going on. And the fact that the story arc, like I said, that's been interrupted, has lasted, believe it or not, this story arc has lasted so far since October, if not around October, November of 2011. That's right, this whole, what many people like myself consider the Mecha Sally World Tour II, Mecha Sally, Death Egg Mark II, Death Egg Mark II, World War II, or World Tour II, I should say. Story arc. You know, can you see now why some people are like, come on, let's get this over with, and why some are like, hey, bring more on, bring it on, kind of deal. Can you now see why, like I said, the fan base is divided? You know, and again, and the fact is, this story arc's not even over yet. We have 247 coming up in the next few months, and then that gets interrupted or has some kind of connection to the crossover, or is interrupted by the crossover. And then we finally get an answer as to how Sally's restored. And what the after effects are going to be. And hopefully, like people said, if she has this new design, she retains who she is. But, oh, man. Again, can you see why there are a lot of people that are not happy with this? And why a lot of people are? I mean, it's like what you see in front of you right now. You have separate DVDs. You have the SatAM DVD set, you have a Sonic X DVD set, and Sonic Underground. And there's no doubt you have different fan base, different portions of the Sonic franchise fan base that are fans of each and every one of them and consider one better than the other. So kind of think of it that way. Kind of look at it that way. Some like them, some don't. I mean, there's one guy, the Media Man, known as MixFan8643, he likes Sonic X more than he likes SatAM. So, go figure. But again, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself here. Can you see why why the fan base is kind of like a roller coaster going up and down, up and down? It's like, ay, 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 ay. All I can say, folks, is I hope when this is all said and done, and I give my final judgment on this whole story arc, because I'm waiting for this thing to end. You know, and like I said, I'll be honest, I don't like what happened to Sally any more than anybody else does, but I'm willing to give the rest of the story arc a chance. I just don't like what's happened to her. You know, again, it's like I've said many times before, I'm not used to seeing a character like her, who I've seen for 20 years as she was, in this situation. I mean, yeah, she got roboticized in issue 29, but that was only for mainly like 8 pages worth of that story, if less than 8 pages worth of that story, and she was restored. So can you kind of see why, you know, I'm not okay with what's happened with her, but I'm waiting to judge the story arc itself? Anyway, that's basically that's what's going on, and hopefully this has brought a lot of you that have gotten back into the books after a while, or back into the comic after a while, basically up to date on what's happening, and it's gotten a lot of you that are new to the comics up to date on what's going on and why it's happening, and hopefully it kind of helped those that have been long-time subscribers and readers like myself kind of give it a better understanding of why it's happening. So, oh man. I'll tell you, folks, I give Ian Flynn all the respect in the world. He's got his work cut out for him in the next few months. And all I can say is, God have mercy on you. All I can say is, God, may you have mercy on Ian Flynn during these next few months. And during the summer of the Sonic Mega Man crossover, because he's going to need a lot of it. You're going to need a lot of it, my friend. Again, I give him a lot of respect. You know, I may not see eye to eye with him on a few things, but, you know, I give him a lot of respect for doing what he's doing. And all I can say is, you know, God have mercy on his soul for what's upcoming in the next few months. And hopefully he comes up with something good that everybody can enjoy. But that's all I'm going to say. Again, hopefully this updated a lot of you that recently got back into the comics, you know, are new to the comics, and basically those that have been following ever since, as long as I have, if not longer. So that's all I'm going to say. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. take your time in watching this 3-part videos, and that's all I'm going to say. Peace out. God bless.